This is the Sunburnt Podcast, where we talk comedy, tropical travel, and everything in between. To my left is Emmy Award-winning writer, producer, whose Come Hither Stare is illegal in 47 states, Mr. Thomas O'Brien.
Chip, these lashes have got me in a lot of trouble.
But a lot of love as well.
But a lot of fun. It's got me into a lot of fun. And to my right, you know him from Netflix. You know him from his unbelievable stand-up special, Move Closer. The incredible comedian, Chip Chantry.
Thank you, Tommy. We're ready to. I'm so excited about today's episode. We are talking about private islands.
Shh, that's private.
That is very private. And we're not talking about the creepy private islands either. These are wholesome islands owned by wholesome people. They just happen to own them. Maybe something that you and I will do someday. I'm very excited to talk about this. We are also talking about, it was Mother's Day this week. Hopefully your mother got some nice gifts. Hopefully your wife got some nice gifts. And then somebody in the Los Angeles area got a very surprise gift that we are going to talk about.
It was the mother of all Mother's Day surprises, Chip, and I can't wait to talk about it because it is shocking.
Shocking and beautiful.
Oh, I mean, it's, I don't know. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it is definitely shocking. And then, Chip, can you feel it? We are 196 days away from Chip Chantry's Thanksgiving in Paradise.
Just unreal. I'm so excited. This Thanksgiving, this is a real thing. Thomas and I and you are going to Hawaii. I'm doing 2 shows at the Blue Note Jazz Club the night before Thanksgiving this year. It's my first time in Hawaii. Tommy's been there many times.
Yeah.
We want you to join us, not just for the comedy show, but come out. All year we're going to be talking about tropical travel, one of our favorite things. We're talking comedy, and we're bringing those two things together this Thanksgiving in Hawaii. We want you to come. It's going to be a blast. But before we get started with that, I got to ask you a question, Tommy. Are you one? You ready to do this?
Chip, I am one.
Let's slather on that sunblock, making us feel good, making us smell good, making us just impervious to the sun. I will tell you right now, Thomas, it is raining and miserable in Philadelphia. The last 3 days have just been wet and gross. I have not taken my dog out since the weekend where I haven't had to towel him down afterwards. It is disgusting, but I get in here, I put on this sunblock, and I'm feeling those rays, baby. I'm feeling those rays.
It's a sneaky trick that we like to use. We're actually turning the corner here in LA. This weekend we had a heat warning.
Yep.
It was almost too hot. I hit the beach. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. But dude, we're one. You're one. Stay tuned. Front desk.
Hi, this is Mr. Chantry in room 308. Please come quickly. There's a monster under my bed.
Mr. Chantry, we can't keep doing this.
Look, I know it sounds crazy, but there is a monster under my bed. He is huge. He is aroused. He is... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It's just the mannequin I put under there. Never mind.
Chip, episode 13.
Lucky 1-3.
Lucky 1-3. Whoever says 13's unlucky, they ain't seen this episode or the 2 times we tried to record it earlier in the week.
Nope, not at all. Technical difficulties, my friends. Technical difficulties.
But it's not technical if it's a curse.
I have been wearing a tiki doll that my older brother Peter found at a construction site in Honolulu. So I'm just saying that. Speaking of which, I'm not wearing my one of my Hawaiian shirts today, but I am wearing my Beach Boys shirt, Beach Boys Live in Concert shirt. And I'm feeling really good about that. So I'm feeling summery. We are turning the corner here in Philadelphia too. It is rainy, but it's the worst of both worlds because it's rainy. It's not rainy and cold. It's just rainy and like humid and weird and just everything's wet and sticky. But I'm turning the corner, Thomas. It's been a crazy couple days. The sun is going to come out literally tomorrow, which I'm going to write a song about.
Wow.
But I'm feeling on an upward trajectory. This podcast episode is going to be great. Tonight, I am going. Okay, speaking of burnt ones, I mean, we have to have a burnt ones Hall of Fame. Like, just like the best of the best island guys. Like, your Jimmy Buffetts, your Don Ho's, your that other guy with the ukulele that sings the Somewhere Over the Rainbow, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
I am going to see a concert tonight with my buddy Christian. We are going to a very fancy theater in Philadelphia where there's probably going to be some upper crusty older people there, and he and I are going to see Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass.
Whew.
I'm sure you've heard that name. Maybe you haven't. Look it up. You've definitely heard some of his music. If you've ever seen a game show from the 1970s, that's the type of music he's playing.
Dun 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 dun.
I'm so excited to go see Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass tonight. It's going to be wild. And then this weekend for us in Philadelphia is the Italian Market Festival here in South Philly.
Ooh.
Sun's out, guns out, fun's out. It's the Italian Market Festival, but it's also the Mexican Market Festival because half of it is a lot of Mexican restaurants, which are amazing. In about exactly 48 hours, I'm going to be walking around 9th Street in Philadelphia with a pineapple filled with margarita.
I love it.
I'm very excited. And I know, by the way, that's not the receptacle you should be drinking a margarita out of, but they give you the choice. You can have a pina colada. You can have a mojito. You can have a marg. And they just throw it in a hollowed out pineapple. And that's where I'm going to be. But that's where I am mentally right now. How about you, bud?
Dude, that's a great place to be. I'm doing great, man. Actually, after this, I'm doing something special, too. In mere hours, me and my wife are going to go watch Friendship.
I'm very jealous. I'm so excited. Paul Rudd, Tim Robinson.
I read the script when it was going around.
I remember you talking about this.
I know. I did everything I could to try and get involved in that one. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, much more talented people with much more money came into the picture.
And longer eyelashes, too. And that's what beat you out. You thought you had the longest lashes in Hollywood, but a couple of people had you out just by a few. But I still seriously remember this. This was like during the pandemic years ago where that script, I think, came across your desk and you were just talking about how amazing it was. And I was like, how is this not being made? It's like two of the funniest, greatest people in the world. And thank God this world has some hope left. It was. I'm so excited.
Been excited about this one for a long time, but it's my wife, Chip.
Yeah.
It was her idea. She's like, we've got the babysitter. Let's go do this with our very limited time alone. Let's go see this movie. This is going to be my first movie since becoming a father that I'm going to go see in the theater.
Wow. Good for you, man. I will say this. I'm not a big theater goer anymore. I used to love it.
You and the rest of the world, my man.
I know, and I should. The last time I saw a movie, this is sad, pre-pandemic.
Wow.
Knives Out. The original Knives Out. I did see E.T. I saw E.T. 5 times. I'm going to date myself here, so don't do the math. But I was 5 years old when E.T. came out. Like, I'm just in that pocket.
Yeah.
And I think I saw it 5 times in the theater because every adult wanted and needed to see E.T., but they wanted to bring a child with them. So I was just the designated. I went with my parents. I went with my grandparents. I went with this aunt and uncle. I went with that aunt and uncle. My parents just loaned me out to strangers just to go see E.T. Not exactly the stranger danger move of 1982, but hey, I mean, things were a little bit different back then. I did see E.T. many times, and man, I loved it. Did you? I don't know if you were aware of this. That was a big thing. So E.T. was one of those movies. I think it was Mr. Spielberg. By the way, I just watched. Speaking of movies, just last night for the first time ever, I just watched his first. Do you know what his first theatrical production was? His directorial debut. He did Duel, which was a made-for-TV movie, and then in 1974 he did a movie before Jaws. Do you know what it was?
I don't.
Any listeners out there? Goldie Hawn in the Sugarland Express. Interesting movie. Basically two fugitives on the run trying to get their kid back, and but it was a good movie. But anyway, Spielberg put E.T. out. It's the biggest movie ever, whatever. And then 6 months to a year later, it comes out on video, and now we're in the video store era. My favorite era of United States history. But for whatever reason, I forget exactly why, like licensing or whatever, they decided not to release E.T. for years. Like, you could just not see it. It wasn't in theaters anymore, but they did not release it on VHS. So you couldn't rent it until it was like 1987 or 88. So it's like 5 or 6 years later.
Really?
And it was a big deal. So it's like, finally, E.T. is coming out. And our local video store, you could rent it, but then you could also purchase it as well. And it was like, that's when VHS tapes were like $100.
Yeah.
And my parents and like everybody else's parents were like, we're buying E.T.
Wow.
Like, we're getting the VHS. And they put it, there's a big promotion for it. They put it on order. You pay for it. And then, hey, when it comes out in October or whatever, you will get the VHS. And in between the time where we all ordered it and it was coming out, the local video store went out of business. So it was our town's biggest like scandal in years because we're like, wait, you have our ET money. Now you're skipping town. And it was this whole big thing. And like there was, I don't know if the law got involved or lawyers or whatever. We did get our money back, but and somehow eventually we did get ET on VHS. But yeah, it was a big man. ET in the 80s. That was ET. I'll say he's one of the burnt ones.
He literally might be. We don't know what happened to him on entry that got him that hue and kind of that skin texture.
There was never a sequel. That's all I will say.
He didn't put on suntan lotion or sunscreen once during the whole movie.
No, you don't see him slathering on. And you saw how white and pale he was in that one scene. He's laying down by the river trying to get some rays.
Yeah.
Nope. No thanks. No thanks, E.T. So I'm so excited to hear about Friendship. Maybe I'll try to go see it this weekend at some point. But you had a Mother's Day experience. Dude, it's hot in LA right now. It's literally getting hot in here.
It is. It's getting so hot in LA, but this is something I caught it on, like I saw it on a TikTok. It was from a local news station. This story's so hot, Chip, that the TikTok, and I even shared it with you, has been taken down.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
and
update.
the journalistic integrity and effort that I'm willing to put into this type of pursuit is that's where it ends. I'm not looking for another version. I don't know what happens, but the story's so juicy. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there because it might be a Mother's Day miracle. Picture this, if you will.
Go ahead.
It's Mother's Day morn. You've ordered some stuff on Amazon, and it shows up on the day. It shows up Sunday morning, bright and early before you've even gone outside. You step out of the door to get the mother in your life, the woman of your household, the mother of your children, a special coffee she likes.
Beautiful.
So you're going on a run. You walk right by these packages. You're like, oh, the FedEx driver showed up. And then you walk down a little sidewalk to your front gate. And right there by your front gate on the inside, in your private area, you see a large pile of human refuse.
All right.
That is the gift. That is the gift you find. That's the Mother's Day surprise. So you run back inside. You look at what I believe was 2 or 3 camera angles you have from your property of your front yard with some view of what's going on here. And you see a FedEx driver, after dropping off a package, going down to your front gate, and before she opens it to leave, dropping her pants and taking a hot one right on the sidewalk, Chip.
Yeah, it was. And when you sent me that video, it's just so disturbing. Okay, so first of all, we don't know if it was maliciously done. She left it there. She didn't clean it up. But so it's this FedEx driver. She just nature called.
Yeah.
And she was just like, boom. And here's the thing: whether or not, I don't think we're not going to get it. We can't speculate if she did it maliciously or not. But
nor should we.
Not only was it recorded, like one of your worst, I would say, if she had to list her top worst moments in her life, this is top 3. Okay. And it was not only recorded, but it was recorded on 3 angles. This is a 3 camera shoot. This is how they shot The Big Bang Theory.
Which might be a good name for this story.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
The Big Bang Theory.
Yes. Everybody loves Raymond. And this was the King of Queens right here. 3 camera shoot. And it was all caught. And it looks like she looked into the camera at one point. Like, I don't know if she saw the camera. I don't know if she knew, but she was just like, I got it. You got to go when you got to go. And just think about your worst moment, Thomas. And then just realizing that it was caught on video. And not only the greater Los Angeles area, but everybody on the internet is going to see this happen.
Well, everybody on the internet, but it was in Woodland Hills, one of the suburbs of Los Angeles. It's not
too far from beautiful Van Nuys.
Not too far from beautiful Van Nuys.
My old stomping grounds.
Yeah, where you used to just run up and down Ventura Boulevard, causing a ruckus.
Man.
But it showed her face, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it was just the full. They blurred out certain things, but not who she is at all. And she's just a human being doing her thing.
She might be a mother. She might be a mom having to work on Mother's Day for FedEx.
Oh, yeah. I mean, can you imagine? You got to put the diapers on. You got to get them dressed. You got to get them fed. You don't have time to hit the restroom. You've been in your truck delivering packages all day, and then you get caught up. I mean, it could happen.
She obviously hasn't put on her diapers either.
Yeah. You're not supposed to need them, especially on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, we all have those moments of like, oh, this is going to be bad, but like, we're hoping and thinking that it's not going to be recorded, but everything is recorded. Like, every time I do, like, I live in a city, you live in a city. Mm-hmm. Like, anytime I'm like, oh, I would take a poke at this guy right now, or I would, cause some ruckus.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's going to be recorded. Somebody's going to see it. And I think it's honestly, look, say what you will about Big Brother, but I think it's kept me more honest. I will say that.
It's kept me more honest. It also gives you, for better or worse, when it's your camera, a more realistic look at what your physical fitness status is actually like, because we can go in the mirror, you can put, like, you just do it automatically, you give yourself your best angles, but oh mama, when you're coming home late at night and walking through the front door and you just get that side profile of you walking up the drive, it is honest, it is unflattering, and it is what other people see. It's letting you know. So speaking of unflattering angles, this this woman, this thing happened. She was part of it, and I can only imagine. It's like you're in such an emergency state. Mm-hmm. You're doing what you're doing, and then the light bulb pops. Cameras, and then you look directly at a camera. I think that's probably what you saw. Yeah. And now you're really in a pickle.
Here's the thing where I think she made the mistake, though.
Where did she make the mistake, Chip? What part of the story that nobody thought of? What's the point where she did something that could be considered a mistake?
Because she has towed the line up until this point. Mm-hmm. Is you see the camera, that's when you're like, all right, I either have to go clean this up or I have to go tail between my legs, knock on the door and be like, look, accidents happen. I'm really sorry. Could I have some cleaning supplies? Or look, I will clean this up. And then the guy would be like, hey, all right, boom. And then I think all's forgiven, and you wouldn't release that to the world then, I think. Mm-hmm. She just like made a beeline and like took off. It's like it's a hit and run. Something that rhymes with hit, though. You know what I'm saying?
I forget about that. Like somebody had to release it. It probably was the homeowners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is not the Ring Corporation. Just it wasn't on their greatest hits compilation.
It might be somewhere at Ring HQ. I believe it's an Amazon company. But
it's Mother's Day, man. It's a
holiday.
How was the rest of your Mother's Day, though? That striking moment in the greater Los Angeles area aside, how was the rest of your Mother's Day?
Well, I did feel a moment where I was just overcome by a white, bright light that felt like a warm blanket that kind of represented love to me. I think that was probably the very moment this video was being captured. Mm-hmm. But also, it's Mother's Day. My wife wanted to have a chill day. She slept in. I took the baby. We went and got her some special breakfast treats that she likes. And then when she was,
then you put on your wig. You delivered a couple of packages.
Yeah. Delivered a couple of packages. Stared a couple of cameras straight in the eye. Yeah. And then me and the baby came back, and she wanted to go to the beach, dude. It was a heat wave. I got my first taste of warm weather beach of 2025 down in Manhattan Beach. We went for a walk up and down the Strand there, and it was absolutely fantastic.
That's great, man. That is great. You know what? I've been thinking about this lady. And her, that just this officer situation, like, she just wants to pull the ripcord and be like, I'm out now. Like, I gotta go somewhere and start anew.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're talking about today.
It's exactly what we're talking. This is a classic case of, like, it's a phrase we throw around a lot, but this is the definition of a woman who just needed a vacation.
Calgon, take me away.
She needs a vacation.
And that's what we're talking about today. So should we get into our just I think one of the best burnt ones, like in the Burnt Ones Hall of Fame. Should we get into this story?
Yeah, it's this is the meat of the episode. We're jumping into private islands with the story of one of the greatest, has to be one of the greatest private island owners of all time. This guy's doing it for all the right reasons. Very inspiring. Yeah, of course. Chip, take it away. Let us know. Let us know what's going on here.
All right, let me give you the who, what, when, where, how real quickly. So we're talking about the Seychelles, which is an archipelago. I love that word. An archipelago, series of islands. It is a nation. The Seychelles is its own nation off of the east coast of Africa. You go Kenya. I think you go about 1,000 miles out. It's in the Indian Ocean. It's a small, very small nation. I think it's like 100 different islands or maybe even more. And this is in the early 1960s, Mad Men era. Okay.
Ooh.
So to give you a little bit of history, parts of Africa were obviously colonized by the UK. And Tanzania had just been liberated. They just, they just got free from the UK. And there was this British guy. He's from England, but he was working in Kenya. He was the editor of a big newspaper in Kenya. So he's doing pretty well. I think he's making some money. But he sees the writing on the wall. He's like, oh, Tanzania's liberated. Kenya's going next. Once they're liberated, I'm going to be out of a job. They're going to rightfully so probably get a local person to be the editor of the newspaper. I need to figure out my next move. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's this dude named Brendan Grimshaw. Okay. This British guy. He's got a little bit of money and he's like, I got to do something else with my life. So in 1962, 37-year-old Brendan Grimshaw bought his own private island. Thomas, when I was 37, I bought my own private Honda Civic. Like, that's what this guy's got on me, okay? He went down there, and he loved it, and he was, like, looking around. He's like, I have a little chunk of change. Can I buy an island? And so he's going around. He's looking. He went on this, like, week or two long vacation. He's, like, checking out all these places that may or may not be for sale. And it's his last day, and and he didn't think he was going to find one. Some kid, like, through the grapevine, found out that he was looking to buy an island. He just knocks on his door. He's like, hey, do you want to buy this island? So the owners, like, took him to the island. He was like, this is perfect. I love it. And for 10,000 British pounds, he bought his own private island. It is Moyenne Island. Okay, this tiny little island. It's about a 1/4 mile long. It's not very big. It's totally overrun. I don't think there was any structures. There's no houses or anything like that. But it was in pretty bad shape. So it's basically rainforest, but a lot of, like, weeds and underbrush took over a lot of the trees. They said it was so dense that when a coconut would fall, it wouldn't even hit the ground like that. It would just hit the underbrush. Like, that's how dense it was. A lot of the animals that were native to it, birds, tortoises are known for the Seychelles. They're all gone. They've all kind of died off. It's just sort of in disrepair.
Yeah.
And overgrown. And for 10,000 pounds, which if I do the math right, would be a little over $100,000 in today's money. So maybe like 130 grand.
That sounds very reasonable, Chip. Very reasonable.
I don't have 130 grand just lying around, but it's like, hey, man, it's like way less than a house is,
Yeah.
And he buys an island. Okay. So he's 37. He finds this local guy who's 19 years old, this guy, Rene Antoine Lafortune, who is if I say it correctly, a Seychellois, which is a person native of Seychelles. And over the next 10 years, from 1962 to 72, the two of them keep coming back to this island, and they clear out the brush. They make like 3 miles of trails, and they start building some structures. They got a house or two on there, like little places to live.
Yeah.
They bring animals back, which I think is awesome. He brings birds back to the island because birds weren't really hanging out. So he brings a bunch of birds to the island, and he releases them on the island. And guess what they did, Thomas?
They flew away, Chip.
Of course they do, because he loved them and he set them free. So he went and got some more and brought them back again. He did it like 3 or 4 times. Finally, some birds started sticking around. And by the way, he planted trees. So some of these trees are blooming. They have fruits on them. So the birds now have something to eat. So a bunch of the birds stayed and made baby birds. So by the way, the two guys planted over 16,000 trees on this little island.
That's a lot of trees, Chip.
A lot of trees, baby. And they also bring back tortoises. Tortoises are native to the area. There were no tortoises left. They brought a bunch of tortoises. Now there's apparently 100 of these giant tortoises walking the islands many years later. It's just they've just made it a thing, which I think is great. They brought some dogs back. I think is awesome. He just which I think is cool that he brought tortoises to the island. These are creatures known for their old age. Mm-hmm. So in that respect, he is the opposite of Jeffrey Epstein. He's the exact opposite of he's like, no, these things are old. We want to have these on the island. Okay?
Yeah.
By the way, I looked this up. A group of tortoises. Do you know what it's called, Thomas? A herd, a pack.
A group. I don't know.
You're actually not too far off. It is a creep. A creep of tortoises. So he's now got a creep of tortoises. By the way, a creep is also a guy who goes to Epstein Island. That's the scientific term. And I looked this up too. We were talking about this the other day. Do you know the difference between a tortoise and a turtle, Thomas?
I'm standing firm with I think it has something to do with their feet.
It's sort of tortoises don't know karate, but turtles do. Turtles know karate. Yeah, no, it is. Turtles are more aquatic. They're swimming. They got those little flippers and such. And tortoises are more of the land thing. They got those big old elephant foots, you know. So, yeah. So they're bringing the fauna, the flora back. They're making things look good. And after 10 years, in 1972, Grimshaw and La Fortune, they moved to the island full time. Just the two of them, just two guys. It's 1972. I think they saw the Brady Bunch 3-episode arc where they go to Hawaii and they're like, boom, that is our sign. We're going there full time. And for 50 years, 5 decades basically, these two dudes by themselves just live on this island. Just a couple of buds living on an island. And of course, you know, there's these two buds. They seemed very chummy. I'm not going to guess one way or another. It could be a Brokeback Island situation. If that's so, good, you know, good for them.
Yeah.
It never really came out, but like, you know, hey, I mean, what a great, if that's the case, what a life, you know, just the two of them. So the two of them lived there for 50 years. And by the way, in that time, they brought running water, electricity, and a phone line to the island.
Yeah.
And this is how industrious these guys are. When my internet goes down, I fall apart. These guys created electricity. I don't know how they do it, but they did it. So this place is great. And so it's this beautiful, lush new island. It's this paradise that they created. Over the years, he had dozens of offers to buy the island, you know, to sell the island. He one time had a Saudi prince offer $50 million. So he paid roughly in today's money $100,000 for it. $50 million. He could have sold it, and he was like, "Nah, not going to do it. Not selling this island." And really, what they want, because people are developing these islands, because it was becoming more. Tourism was coming, and hey, we love tourism and we love going there. But there is a downside to tourism. There's pollution. You lose some of the culture, some of the local flora and fauna. And he's like, no, you're not gonna knock all these trees down, build resorts. This is going to be a nature preserve, and he turned it into a nature preserve. So this dude offered him $50 million, Thomas. I wouldn't have only sold the island. I would have thrown in Renee, and I would have beaten those 50 tortoises to death with my bare hands for $50 million. But this burnt one, Brandon Grimshaw, the guy is a mensch. He says, no, I'm just living here in this with just one other person. Oh, and then in 1981, his mother passes away. So his 88-year-old father is given the opportunity. He's like, Dad, do you want to come stay on the island? I know you're 88. Do you want to come? And to his surprise, the dad was like, yeah, I'll come. So he brought his 88-year-old father to live on the island with them. So, and he lived out the last 5 years of his life in paradise. So this is amazing. He brings in 50 tortoises. He has 50 tortoises. He brings in an elderly man. This is literally the slowest moving island on the face of the earth. Like the next thing he's going to bring in some snails and a couple of VHS copies of Eyes Wide Shut. Like that's how slow moving this island is.
The pacing is very, very the opposite of brisk.
Very, very slow. Not brisk at all. So his father passes away 5 years later. He's in his 90s. Like, what a way to go. What a way. This is not a nursing home. This is literal paradise. He was buried next to the grave that Grimshaw already dug for himself and next to two suspected pirate graves from the 1800s. There's these two graves that are said to be from pirates from the 1800s. So fast forward, not to do that, but once the other two guys passes away years and years later, there are roughly 5 people buried on that island that they know of, the 3 of them and 2 pirates in this little burial area, which I think is just amazing. So speaking of that, La Fortune, his friend, died in 2007. Grimshaw's in his 80s at this point and was like, I don't have much time left. I'm here by myself. I don't have any kids. I don't have any family. Who am I going to leave this to? I don't want this to become a resort. I want it to stay a nature preserve. So over the next 5 years, he worked with the Seychelles government to turn it into the world's smallest national park. And to this day, Moyenne Island is the world's, I think it's still the world's smallest, but is a national park where people can go. Oh, and by the way, they weren't always alone on the island. They had people, he would let like day trips come in. So like tourists could come and he would give them tours. They pay money and he'd give them tours and then they would leave. So like people would come and go from time to time, but he kept it natural and beautiful. And even though he passed away in 2012 in his 80s, the legacy lives on. There is a caretaker that stays on the island that keeps it to sort of his specifications. And he is and Brendan Grimshaw buying his own island, not for gain, but just to beautify the world and make his own slice of paradise. He is a burnt one. That is Brendan Grimshaw and Rene Antoine La Fortune turning Moyenne Island in the Seychelles into their own private paradise.
That is unbelievable, Chip.
How many times have you just been like, I want to get out of here, pull the ripcord, and just have my own private? And like, I guess it would get lonely. I guess it would get monotonous, maybe. But like, I saw a bunch of interviews with the dude, and he just didn't seem like he just seemed. I mean, maybe it's just for the cameras. He seems so happy. And he's like, I don't need TV. I don't need all this fast-paced stuff. It's like every day there's just dozens of different types of trees and plants. There's dozens of different types of animals. There's all these birds. There's all these other he's just like, it's the best down here.
And I believe like the day you sign the deed to have your own private island, legally you're allowed to, if you want to, you don't have to, but you're allowed to wear flowing robes and not clasp the front, right?
No, yeah, that you are just, those curtains are open, my friend. Those curtains are open.
And I think that's why some people do it. But no, this what a great story. And then I love just $50 million. And he's like, no, my life is already better than what I could buy with $50 million. Like,
imagine that, like, say, all right, like, look, 50 million, sure, I'll take it. And then he goes back to England or he goes back to wherever and he's got 50 million. And then he's just surrounded by just people, just idiots. And he's just like, oh, I got to deal with this now. Like, and it's raining and cold. Like, no, I literally have everything I need here.
Yeah. And she's just like, for $50 million, I'll lose this island, which would cost $50 million.
Yeah.
To get another one. Like, I already have everything I want, everything I need. Like, really, you know, that's a life flex. When somebody can't offer you enough money to change your lifestyle, you've really done something specific. You've really like cultivated exactly what you want this world to be for you. And hats off to him.
If somebody offered me $100 and some Applebee's gift cards to give up this podcast so they can be the host, sorry, Thomas, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, that's $100. That's $100 and some Applebee's gift cards.
I mean, that's apps. You're talking about entrees and apps. I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this dude, Brendan Grimshaw, just OG burnt one. He would be in the Burnt Ones Hall of Fame. This dude is just okay. By the way, not to get into this too much, but it's hilarious. It was the 80s, I guess. Yeah. And you're in the Seychelles. But there was this interview. It's like this 20-minute interview that I think the BBC did. So it's this reporter. And they're just down there. And it's the 80s. And it's those 80s shorts, you know, those running shorts.
Yeah.
That are just so tight. Man, I don't usually notice this, but just both him and the interviewer are just, they're just popping out of those things, man. I was like, how is this allowed on television? It was, man, it was free flowing. That's all I'll say. Like, I'm trying to look at the tortoises and I'm like, man, there are some turtles down here right now. just poking out.
Yeah, there was something a little provocative about the looks. I saw a couple of pictures you sent through some articles, every single one of them very happy, but like scantily clad. I think probably describes, but they're on their own private island.
Yes.
What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, what am I gonna cover up? No thanks. I'm out here on the beach. Sun's out. Everything's out.
Everything's out. Everything's out. Robe legally can be open.
Okay, so. There are those moments in life. Like I had a rough week this week. Like it's been like I said, it's been rainy. Every time I take a dog out, I gotta wipe him down. Speaking of pets, we had to take our cat to the vet the other day. He had half of his teeth taken out.
What?
He's a big boy. He's a big boy. Our cat Gary.
Gary.
He's a big boy. I don't think his breeding, his genetics are great, and that's what happens to some cats. I learned they'd put him out. They'd take 14 of his teeth out. And it's so like we're dealing with that, and there's just like all this like we had an issue with the podcast, the tech stuff went down, and it's just like I've just been annoyed, but I was like we're doing this podcast today, this weekend's turnaround, going to see Herb Albert tonight.
Yeah,
things are looking up, and I'm excited about that, so I'm turning that negative into a positive. But there are those moments, Thomas, where like you're like I'm done, I'm out. I just lost my job at FedEx for leaving an extra package on somebody's stoop.
Yeah.
There are those moments in life where I'm just like, I need to just go live on my own private island. The world be damned. I'm moving out, getting some tortoises, getting some birds, getting a buddy, and I'm just moving to an island. Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you have any of those moments where you just want to pull the ripcord and get out?
I'll say this right now. This is 100% true. Anytime I hear somebody in a public space listening to music on a portable speaker, I'm like, get me out of here. I don't need to be around people anymore. I don't know why it started. I think it started happening around like, I don't know, 2016. The phenomenon started where people were just like,
it's iPhone time. Yeah.
Yeah, I could put in headphones, but guess what? We're on this bus. We're on this subway. We're on this airplane. And I'm just going to bring my own tunes. Or another, at the gym, Shep. At the gym. There's already music. There's already music playing. There's already music playing. And it lines up with my likes generally. I'm a gym music fan, I guess.
Yeah. You sure?
And you're bringing your own speakers and turning it up loud enough that
so everybody
you can't hear what's already naturally going on there. Very frustrating, Jeff.
It's the human version of marking your own territory. Like just pee on the dumbbells at that point, just to let everybody know. Like that's what that is. You know what I realized? I think because that just angers me so much. I'll be on the subway or whatever, and there's just somebody just blasting it. Or you know what's even worse than that is. It's music, but then they're like playing a video game or they're just like watching TikTok and they're just like flipping through. So it's just like 5 seconds of like something annoying sounding. And it's like, that's it. Here's my problem with that. I think I just realized, other than the fact that it's just super rude, it's the sound quality too. Because like back in the 80s, you would see these guys walking around with these big boom boxes or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And again, that was a thing and that was annoying. But at least the sound quality, they're creating something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's DJ quality sound coming out of those speakers. This is a brick you have in your pocket that's just putting out the worst sound. Like nobody wants to hear that quality of sound, a phone music sound. Like if you're going to do it, just get a Bose speaker, Bluetooth it, baby, and like give us the sound quality that we deserve.
Yeah, we want a little fidelity here.
Yeah. Exactly.
But what about you, Chip? What gets you like, I'm gonna just check out from society?
Again, it's rudeness and it's lack of self-awareness, and it's just something where it's just people are around me and I just can't take it anymore. This happened to me last summer. My wife and I were in beautiful Ocean City, New Jersey. It's a beautiful afternoon. It's just the two of us. We decide we're gonna walk down, get some ice cream at the local ice cream shop. It's 2 p.m. There's not that many people around. It's kind of nice. There's one couple in front of us. And they're in their 30s. They're not teenagers. They are adults.
Uh-huh.
And as they're about to, they're the next people in line. Then there's us. They just start getting in this argument. And they're just having a loud argument. First of all, having a loud argument with your significant other in public, just to me, is just psychopathic behavior.
A lover's quarrel in public. What are you doing?
You can't save that for the car. Like, no, like it just, so they're just having this thing, but they're ordering ice cream. So literally right before it's their turn, he's like, well, then just go out to the car. She's like, I will. I'm just going to go out to the car. And she like storms off and goes to the parking lot.
And she banana split.
She banana splits. And he stands his ground and then angrily orders an ice cream cones and basically screams at a 14-year-old girl behind the counter like, I want a double twist swirl and I want one with Jimmy's. And he's just like angry about it. You're not allowed to be an adult and angrily order ice cream. Ice cream is a privilege. It's silly. It's beautiful. So many people in this world don't have the privilege of having ice cream. You should be happy. You should be thankful. You should be subdued when you are ordering ice cream and eating ice cream. You're not allowed to angrily order. Like, how unself-aware. I wish I videotaped it because it was hilarious how this man is throwing a fit while ordering a swirl ice cream. And then she comes back and they're eating their ice cream and they're still yelling at each other. Like, that's, it's just like, you can't be an adult man. Like, I wish I just had this on video where he's just like, you're so manipulative. I'm just trying to have a nice time and you have to make it all about yourself and your mother. And then just goes for the lick. No, you can't be licking the ice cream and dressing down your wife or girlfriend at the same time. You're not allowed to do it. You have to take a time out. And I was just like, that was the moment my wife and I were just laughing, and I was like, I'm out. This society has run its course. We're done.
There's only 2 frames of mind you should ever be able to eat ice cream, especially in public. Number 1 is joyful. If you're in a moment of joy, you're celebratory. Something good happened here. The other one is sad.
Sad ice cream eating is...
It's comforting. It's delicious. You're using the benefits of it. Angry ice cream, get the hell out of here. No. Go get an ice water. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or water ice. What do you guys call it?
A water ice. There's a lot of angry water ice eating in Philadelphia, and that's.
I have a feeling there's only angry water ice eating.
It's always a chip on your shoulder when you're eating water ice in Philadelphia. Yeah, it's you're angry eating it, and that's okay. That's the difference between water ice and ice cream. Thomas, you got another one?
Oh yeah, dude. I've got another one. Yeah. Just any interaction I've had with medical insurance, especially when they make a mistake and the onus is on you to like sort it out with a bunch of people who are 100% not going to help you sort it out.
No.
You just feel like you got a big thumb pressed right on your back and you're squirming. And at that point, I'm like, take me to the island. I will forego modern medicine not to have to deal with this and feel this pressure. And then just all the people you have to talk to, you have to get upset. It's not fair, but it's happening to you and you have to deal with it. And sometimes the numbers get pretty big, but it's the injustice of it, Chip. It's the injustice and the fact that it's tied to your health. If you want to be a healthy person and not
You're already going through a health issue, so you're feeling vulnerable. Let's heap it on even more.
Yeah. One time I got a physical, just a normal physical, and I found, this is my fault. My doctor had retired. I found my next doctor by going on Google and literally looking up the closest doctor to me that took my insurance.
This is Tinder of healthcare is what you just did.
So I found this guy, went into his office, got the normal stuff, gave him my insurance card. He had somebody come in to take my blood.
I hope it was a medical professional.
I hope it was too. I believe that the blood came out. I'll tell you that.
That's good.
But what he didn't tell me or didn't disclose, I thought it was all the same thing. This was a lab that he owned. It was a separate business. He owned a different business that just does the lab work.
Okay, and when you own your own lab, you're generally making meth. And B, the only guy who owns his own lab that I would trust is Mr. Wizard. That's the only guy.
Yeah.
He brings in kids, teaches them about science, and then sends them on their way.
I think I probably said that wrong. He treated the collection of the samples as a separate business. Okay. So it was billed to a different place. I didn't even leave the chair. I didn't even
Yep.
leave the chair. So this woman comes in. I have no reason to assume it's a different space. The woman that took my blood and then the place they sent my blood to were not covered by my insurance. And I got a bill for like $9,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You could buy your own private island in the Seychelles in 1962 for that.
I know. Zillow shows up at my door. I could just go. So it was like a process of 2 or 3 months, and like I think things are a little different now. Like collections and all that stuff don't go on your record. But like I was a up and coming television professional who wasn't making a ton of cash at the time.
No.
That was like going to significantly affect my lifestyle if I had to come up with that, especially all at once.
Yeah, of
and
course.
I kept calling. There's nothing you can do. This was like sent. The labs have already been done. And finally I called one day and got a sweetheart of a lady who was just like, hey, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Like, it's taken care of right now. And if you ever hear anything about it, do not call the company again. Call my personal number and I will try and figure this out for you, because that doesn't sound fair.
Okay, so silver lining of this story.
Yes.
She's a burnt one right here.
She's a burnt one.
You get a private island, you're bringing her along.
And all timer. And I remember it was during the holidays. I was like, really, it was a stressor. I was like so angry at how unjustified it was.
Of course.
I was angry at that doctor, who I later found out had a bunch of negative reviews and then was suing people for putting them up so they would take them down. Because I kept checking and there would just be like reviews up for 1 or 2 days and then go away of like, he had me like, I came in with a blister and he did an x-ray and it wasn't covered by insurance. And it was completely unnecessary. You don't need that for a blister on your foot. But yeah, no, there is, as much as there are bad people out there, there are a bunch of good ones fighting the good fight too. Yeah, but anytime I've come in touch with medical insurance in a negative way, I'm very lucky to have it. I love it. But the mistakes, Jerry, that's when I'm getting on that island.
Yeah, I got you. I got you, man. That's a rough one.
Yeah. What? Anything else for you, bud?
Okay, I got another one. This is a very specific one, but this is years ago. Before, it's that moment where you're just like, I've reached the end.
Yeah.
I'm humiliated. I'm ruined. I just need to move to the other side of the planet. I'm Googling Moy End Island here. Okay, so years ago, it's before I met my now wife. So I was dating a woman, and she was great. This girl she was awesome. We're having a good time. We only dated for a little while, but Thomas, I'm an up and coming comedian. I am hot stuff. I am constantly working. So I thought, but I was very busy. I had a full-time job and I'm doing stand up. All I'm thinking about is stand up. And I decided, I was like, I can't be tied down to a relationship to this girl. I need to just be on my own, just doing this. But I knew she was gonna take it really hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, breaking up with somebody is the worst, because you just feel bad. You don't want to do it, and I put it off for a week or two, and I was like, I know I have to do this, but I was just being a coward. And finally, I was just like, I have to just rip the Band-Aid off. So I went over to her house one night, and I was like, hey, we have to talk. I'm really sorry. And I really built her up and was like, you're great. You're wonderful. It's not you, it's me. The whole thing. I can't do this, be in a relationship right now. I'm sorry. And I break up with her, and she just goes, okay. And that was it. She's like, all right. And it was over. And then right away, you're just like, oh, I'm just on this ego trip of like, I'm going to let this girl down so hard. She's nothing without me. And she is just like, all right, fine. And like, I was like, oh, like, did I make a mistake? I'm like, she's kind of great. Like, why did I?
That is such a relationship flex, Chip.
She's like, all right. And then, so we went our separate ways.
Yeah.
Amicably. And we had seen each other a handful of times after that, just like we bumped into each other, whatever. And it's like, it's fine. Everything's good. She had apparently moved on. Found another fella. I had not. Just because I was busy. I mean, that was kind of the point. Yeah. But I was busy. But I'm also alone. You want to have somebody, and she's moving on, and I'm not. And fast forward about 6 months, it is December. It's Christmas time. I'm miserable. I'm cold. It's a cold, rainy, kind of frozen sleet rain night in Philadelphia. I finished my day job. I'm driving to Philadelphia from the suburbs to go do an open mic. I'm exhausted. I'm miserable. It's cold. It's just everything's gross. And as I'm driving down this one main road towards the city, I'm at a traffic light, and I look to my right, and I realize that I'm in front of her building. And she rented this apartment in this old house, and it's this really old house from the 17 or 1800s in Philadelphia that's like right next to the street. There's like no yard. It's like 6 feet away from the street. It's right there. And I just happen to be stopped at the stoplight, and I just turn and look, and I can see directly into her kitchen. The lights were on, and as I'm by myself driving to an open mic, she is inside her kitchen making Christmas cookies with her new boyfriend.
Yeah,
and
living
they are
a life.
This is Norman Rockwell. They are having the best time together. I can't hear it, but there's Christmas music playing.
Yeah.
They're just making Christmas music. They're laughing, and I'm just staring in the window at, like, this is Scrooge. This is the Ghost of Christmas Present. Like, I'm just looking, that could have been me, but I'm out here doing this. And it just took a second. Like, I'm not like stalking, but it's just like, I'm just stopped at a stoplight. I'm just looking at there. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
And as I'm looking in, I don't realize that the light has changed, and the dude behind me blares on his horn to make me go. Well, also 6 feet away inside, it gets their attention, and they both look out the window, see what's happening, to see my car sitting right outside their window, and I just pull away.
The Christmas stalker. That's the year you were the Christmas stalker, Chip.
I don't know if they saw me, if they noticed it was me. And I was just like, I'm so embarrassed, and this is awful. And I was like, if I could live on a private island right now, I'm doing it. As long as there's an open mic. If there's an open mic, a new talent night on this island, I'm going.
If it's your island, you decide what night it is.
Yeah, I guess I do.
You can headline. You can do whatever you want. The only problem is, because of the shape of their feet, tortoises can't clap.
It's something we'd have to teach them. And the name of the club would be Coconuts with a Z at the end for.
Yeah.
I think. By the way, I think there is a comedy club or maybe even a chain called Coconuts. So yeah,
I'm sure there is, but also like I think more Bananas. It's a funnier.
It is, and there's a Bananas too. I've headlined Bananas Comedy Club in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey. Bananas Comedy Club.
Head to head, if you had to. I mean, what's funnier produce, bananas or coconuts?
I think I got to go coconuts.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, bananas, because bananas are funny in many different ways. You can slip on a banana. Banana looks like a certain type of anatomy, although coconuts does too.
Coconuts can fall and conk you on the noggin, though. That's also humorous. That's physical
love comedy. Bananas. Monkeys love bananas. Monkeys are always funny.
Monkeys are funny.
Okay. Weigh in the comments. What is funnier, coconuts or bananas? We're going to find out. We're going to get to the bottom of this right now. Yeah.
Chip, this is bananas.
I actually did this. This is, we used to do this comedy show with the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. Franklin Institute, this great science museum. It's sort of for kids, but it's for anybody. Yeah. And we used to do this comedy thing where a bunch of comedy people, whether it be like sketch groups, improv groups, comedians, and we would do the show during Science Week every year, and we'd be paired up with a science professional, like a science historian or like a scientist or a professor, and the show would be they would give a presentation, and then we would do comedy based on their topic. So like an improv group would do it based on that, or a sketch group would do this, and I would always do stand-up based on, or like some sort of stand-up adjacent thing, give a presentation on that. Yeah. And this one woman, this science historian, did a presentation on the history of the banana, which was actually really interesting. First of all, not to get into the full story, but the banana, they believe was actually the fruit that Eve ate in the Garden of Eden.
Get out.
Okay, because if you think about it, where were they? They were in the garden. They're basically naked and they're surviving. So they have to be in sort of a warmer tropical area.
Yeah.
Apples aren't really growing there. It's bananas. They have those leaves that are covering up their junk, right? Those are banana leaves. Like they're bigger. And apparently the word in whatever that language was, like when they wrote the Bible or whatever, in Aramaic or whatever it is, the word for fruit is basically the same as the word for apple. So apple and fruit can be like interchanged. So if they just said fruit, it was like, oh, she ate the fruit. It could have been a banana, but then it might have been translated to apple. So from the Garden of Eden, it was probably actually a banana that was in question that the snake gave her. So right there, so she did the whole history of the banana and just like, man, there's some crazy stuff in Central America and just the stuff that Americans did that were just very illegal with procuring bananas, but we won't get into that. But then my presentation was the history of the banana in comedy, and I wore a banana suit just like Job in Arrested Development and talked about how all of the funny things that bananas have done for the world of humor over the years. And it was one of my favorite things I ever did.
I had no idea you had so much front-loaded information about the comedic worth of a banana when I brought this up.
I have a plethora of comedic information about any fruit you want. But that's another episode.
All right. I'll take it.
Do you have any other pull the ripcord moments?
I do have one more, and it's one that has become more of an issue lately.
Okay.
And I grew up in the Northwest. I moved to sunny Los Angeles with the exception of a couple of hits out east for some work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my blood has gotten so thin, Chip. Whenever it's cold, I'm like, get me out of here. Yeah. And it's cold by LA standards, which is you might be able to see your breath. I hate it. I freaking hate it. I hate being cold. Mm-hmm. I don't like it.
So do I. Yeah.
It makes me irritable. It makes me a little angry. And with the exception of if like I'm at like a snow place or a place specifically to be surrounded by that kind of environment, I just can't handle it. And if somebody was like, here's an island, you can trade your life savings and you and your family can go build a new existence. When I am chilly, it's 9 out of 10 times I'm saying, let's do it. Let's just get out.
Go do. I get it, and you're just like, we're going to the island. We're going to the
goosebumps. F them.
Yeah. No sore throats. No thanks.
No. Yeah. Winter. Oh, I get sick immediately if I'm in cold now. When I go home to Oregon for the holidays, sick immediately. Yeah.
Well, your parents did also own a mold farm. I mean, they grew and they grew mold for scientific purposes.
Yeah.
And they make you stay in the greenhouse. Isn't that correct?
My parents do grow molds, but I really don't think it's related, Chip. I think it's that it's a little chilly up there.
Okay, maybe it's just it's a little brisk.
What about you, buddy? You got any more?
My last one, it was just a moment. We have the cold here in Philadelphia, but we also have just sometimes the beautiful people that we see.
Marilyn
one
Manson.
Morning, yes.
The beautiful people. The beautiful people.
Marilyn Manson was here on my stoop one day. No, I was walking beautiful morning in Philadelphia one summer morning last year, and I'm walking down the street. I literally had to cross the street mid-block to avoid a woman. It's 7 a.m., beautiful morning. You could tell she didn't just wake up, though. She's still up.
Right.
Okay. She's sitting on her front stoop, or a front stoop. I don't know if it's her house or not.
Yeah.
And she's just angry. She's probably in her 50s. She's angry. She's just like staring off with anger. She's got a Camel cigarette just dangling from her mouth. And she is angrily loading a staple gun.
Nope.
Staple gun, boom. I don't know what she's doing with that staple gun. I don't think she's doing any home improvements. I don't think she's doing any art projects. That is the only weapon she has available. She's angry. She's smoking a Camel, and she is angry loading this staple gun. I was like, that's the type of person that I'm not going to have on my private island. Sure, there may be pirates every once in a while. Sure, there may be natural predators, but this lady is not going to be there. I need to get out right now.
Yeah, you can't have that. It's such a creepy implement, the staple gun. Yeah. It has very little value in most contexts, except to be intimidating in a place where you should not be intimidating.
Yeah, she's not putting some burlap up on a wall. You know what I mean? She is settling a score.
She is smoking a dart and getting ready to break some hearts.
she 100% is. Yeah. and somebody is going to need, at the very least, a tetanus shot in the next hour.
Yeah. There can be a little rest on those staples.
Yeah. So those are the times where we would get out and you go, okay, here's a question for you, Thomas.
Yep.
what's your ideal crew for your own private island? Is it just
Ooh.
are you just, and hopefully your wife isn't listening to this, but like,
Yep.
are you just going by yourself and you're just living off the grid, or you taking just your wife and the daughter? Are you taking a group of people? What's happening here on this island?
Gosh, that's tough because with every extra person you bring onto the island is the diminishing law of island returns.
Okay.
You know, you're getting less and less what you went there for. You're getting more and more of the problems you had back home.
You're getting closer and closer to Staple Lady.
You're getting closer and closer to Stable Lady. What I think it is just me and my family, but not unlike the man from earlier who bought his private island. I want people to be able to come visit, Chip.
See, that's the plus right there. Yeah, let them come visit. It's a nice place to visit. You don't want to stay.
Yeah, because I think being island mates, depending on how big it is, being island mates is tantamount to being roommates. It is that level of intimacy. You're probably sharing meals for the most part. You're definitely not coming and going without other people knowing what you're up to. I don't like people up in my business.
No. Yeah.
I really don't. To the point where, like, you know, I was fine living in apartments, and when I lived on the East Coast, it was like not a big deal. But just more and more, like, I don't want to see anybody else on my way from my front door to my car. I just want to come and go.
Yeah.
And especially, you know how I love to listen, Chip. I'm a snoop. I eavesdrop.
Yeah.
I can't help it. If there is other people on that island capable of having a conversation, all I will do is be up in their business.
Your ear is to the bamboo.
I'll just be screaming at the ocean, quiet down. They're talking.
Shut up, waves. Shut up. You just have a coconut to a wall on your ear. I mean, that's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. But you can't do it with the banana to your ear. That's just pretending to be on the telephone.
That's also funny, though.
It is kind of. It's why are bananas and coconuts so funny? Yeah. No, that's what it is.
I've never seen a 60-year-old nurse put a condom on a coconut in front of a bunch of 16-year-olds.
Well, then you were not at my bachelor party, my friend.
Ooh, the kinky. I have seen a 60-year-old nurse put a condom on a banana in front of a bunch of 16-year-olds.
Yeah, and that was, you know, those were the days. Those are the beautiful days. You have to learn somehow, Thomas.
Yep.
You have to learn somehow. Yeah.
And boy, did I.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would have some people on the island, like a group of trusted friends. Also, like, I want, like, somebody. You want your Ocean's 11 people there.
Yeah,
like,
you're assembling the whole crew. Everything you need is going to be taken care of.
Like, my pals are great, but I want a doctor on the island. Like, somebody I kind of like, but also knows how to fix a wound. You know,
yeah.
I want somebody who is handy. Like, I am not the handiest guy. I think I can, you know, put something up, but like to create electricity and maintain it.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have that, or even just structurally, like the house, whatever.
You want somebody who's handy, somebody who's handsy.
Handsy. Well, I want both of those, and it's not mutually exclusive. It could be the same person.
Yeah,
it could be the same exact person. And
and it could also be a doctor.
It could be. I just, you know.
I think you know who you're describing. I think this is Renee.
I think it is Renee Antoine Lafortune, the Seychelles, the 19-year-old who just dedicated his life to clear and brush, and maybe getting a little handsy, and that's all right. You know, that's
healing
okay.
with those hands.
Healing hands, Reiki massage. That's what I want on the island. So yeah, you want your team, I think. Like that. That's why, Thomas, I'm telling you, it's like, I'm not saying I'm building a cult, but I'm building a cult. It is a bit of a commune.
Yeah.
And like I said, Jonestown was great until it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was before Uncle Jim actually came down from San Francisco to oversee the thing. They were having a great time building those huts, making a little village, having a great time. They were just like, this is paradise here in Guyana. I'm having a great time, and everybody's having a good time. And then he comes down with his amphetamines and his cocaine and his craziness, and things went downhill just a little bit. Yeah, so I would have some friends. But again, you need a little bit of that space. Like maybe they're on one side of the island, I'm on the other side. It's only a quarter mile wide, so it's not like you're very far away. But maybe just a little privacy, close but near.
That would be ideal if you had enough space where everybody could kind of spread out or whatever. It would be nice. It would be nice to assemble your A team.
An electrician, a doctor, a ventriloquist, all of the essentials, Thomas. All of the essentials.
All the essentials. And one thing I will say about the private island owner,
Brendan Grimshaw.
He was there for 50 years.
Yeah, just a Brit in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
We're talking about over 15,000 sunsets.
Yeah.
15,000 sunrises with, what I would assume was, at the very least, his best, closest friend. Waking up every morning, choosing what he wanted to do.
Yep.
Hearing the sound of the waves, feeling the warm tropical air or the tropical storms or whatever nature is handing his way.
Yep.
Not a cell phone in his hand, not a TikTok to be swiped.
Nope.
He was living his dream life every day, day in, day out. And sure, there was some sacrifices, but he chose this and he loved it so much that he wouldn't part with it for $50 million, which is more money than anybody reasonably could ever spend in their lifetime.
Yes. Exactly.
That is an all-timer, Sunburnt one. I salute him. I look forward to copying him in as many ways as I possibly can.
Yep.
And I will do that starting off November 26th. Chip Chantry's Thanksgiving in Paradise. It's our big goal for this year.
This is our private island. Sure, Waikiki is not a private island. It's not even an island. It's just a little nook.
It's definitely on an island. And no way are we implying we own it, but this is our dream. This is what we're shooting for. This is what we're bringing to life.
And we want you guys to join us.
And there will be 2 or 3 sunsets involved, at least.
And some bananas and coconuts.
Can you imagine how funny this is going to be, Chip?
So come join us this Thanksgiving. Don't stick around here in the cold. Come out to Hawaii with us. It's going to be great. If you have any questions, let us know. Throw us in the comments. Shoot us a message. We are at the Sunburnt Pod on all of the socials. Throw us a like. Throw us a comment. Throw us smash that subscribe button with your coconut, if you know what I mean.
If you're one, let us know you're one. Smash that button with your coconut. Yep. And until next time, stay burnt. Front desk.
Hi, this is Mr. Chantry in room 308. Please come quickly. There's a monster under my bed.
Well, is he aroused?
Look, I know it sounds crazy, but there's a monster under my bed. He is huge. He is aroused. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It's just the mannequin I put under there. Never mind.